Good morning, good morning. And there we go. So one quick thing I just mentioned about, we're talking about like Gary's book, The One Thing, and some of the stuff we're doing. At the end of my round of golf yesterday morning, I had a chance to sit down and have lunch with a mutual acquaintance, I guess, of one of the guys I golf with. And he's one of the most sought after prosecuting attorneys in the country. Just fascinating guy, and really top of his craft. So he is. He talked about some of the stuff they're working on right now, and it's unbelievable. And he's the one that they try to get to come in and prosecute these cases. And he had said he'd asked what I did, and I told him what I did here for Keller Williams. He goes, Keller Williams. He goes, I've read that book. And I said, that book? And he goes, yeah. And I immediately, because my mind is always towards the millionaire real estate agent, it was thinking the Red Book. And I'm like, why would you read a book about real estate? He goes, no, it wasn't about real estate. It was really a business book. And I'm going, The One Thing. And he goes, he goes, I've been giving that book to everybody. And so it's kind of cool to have someone like that out talking about some of the stuff that Gary's created for us. And I think sometimes we take it for granted. So that's why I just thought I'd share that quick story. So today's lesson 26 in the Course of Miracles, just a kind of a recap of last week, actually. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, Tuesday we did what I see as a form of vengeance. So that was the lesson. Wednesday was I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Now I brought that back in because today is going to talk a little bit more about attack thoughts. Attack thoughts. That's one of the things, the first time I went through this course, I really struggled with getting my head wrapped around. So as I'm prepping for this, I'm going, how can I do this in a way that maybe, and not saying that if I can't get it, no one else can, because that's not it at all. It's just saying that if there's some parts I struggle with, there may be some struggles for some of us as well. So that's where today we're going to go. And then on Thursday, we talked about I do not perceive my own best interests. And we talked about the fact that your egoic mind is really what creates that problem for us in knowing what's really best for us, because its job is to keep us alive, right? Because it's physically part of who you are versus maybe the spiritual or the energy piece of who you are. And so that was Thursday. And then Friday, we ended the week on this one. And that was, I do not know what anything is for. Wow, wasn't that a great way to put you into the weekend? So as you did the lesson around lesson 25 about I do not know what anything is for, did anything come up for you in that step-by-step questioning about I don't know what anything is for as I see it? Remember, it was that observation of items. Did anyone have anything that happened for you? So let me ask this question, though, and I'm going to just stop to share for a moment. As we go through our days, and we've had some of these lessons, are you noticing yourself coming back to a lesson and having whatever's going on in your world in that moment maybe not be as impactful on you as it may have been otherwise? I see a couple heads shaking. Yeah, and that's so that's what part of this is all about, right? It's about really getting rid of all that stuff that I always call it this. It's the triggers or the hooks, like those things that just get me to go from to calm to my blood pressure's about shooting through the roof, just because of one little thing. It's about managing that in a different way and really peeling the onion so that doesn't exist anymore. So that's really what this is about, is that, because here's the thing, the ultimate goal here is a life of peace, fulfillment, and contentment, right? So peacefulness. And it's tough to have peace when you get hooked. It's tough to, and so it's really learning ways to take that and get rid of it so that when we're in it, we're only seeing what's there for what's there. Not what's there for what our past says what's there. Not what's there for what our meanings from the past say what's there. And that's really what this is all about. And that's really what that did, I think, is it's another one of those lessons in that layer that just says, this doesn't have meaning. This doesn't have meaning. This doesn't have meaning. This doesn't have meaning. And we'll see as we continue working this, what that does for each and every one of us as we get even more studied at it, if you will. So today's lesson's a little more along those lines as well. So that's where I wanted to set it up in that way. And lesson 26 is this. It says, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Now, in this one, I'm not going to read the text of the lesson first. I'm going to read the explanation first, because I think then the text might make more sense. And then I'll give you the lesson for the exercise for this for today. So lesson 26 says, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. And this is an important lesson. It is actually a statement of the obvious, yet something that we do not think about. The only reason you would attack another is because you must believe that they have the ability to affect you in some way. If you did not believe that they possess that ability, then why would you be concerned about them at all? Only if you felt their actions could have some positive or negative consequence on your world would you feel compelled to attempt to control their actions. If you were invulnerable, their actions would be of no consequence to you. Now, the challenge I think I had in this is getting my head wrapped around the word invulnerable, right? Vulnerable, I think we all know that definition, vulnerability, I'm vulnerable. But invulnerable is not a word I've heard very often used, and probably not one that's in our lexicon regularly. So the invulnerability means no outside force could change you against your will. That's such a great statement. Invulnerability means no outside force could change you against your will. You believe that you must change, fix, or control another's actions because you need to ensure their proper compliance with your ego's worldview and plan. When you believe that you could affect them, you must believe that by your actions you can impact their behavior. This belief that your actions can impact another person's behavior has made the belief of individual vulnerability real within your own mind. Because if you can do that to someone else, they could definitely do that to you. So as previously stated, perception is always colored by our beliefs. Thoughts always precede our actions. Your senses confirm your beliefs that you have projected into your world from your own mind. When you believe another is vulnerable, it must mean that your mind has first accepted the idea of your own vulnerability. To attack another, therefore, means you must first attack yourself. Say that again. To attack another, therefore, means you must first attack yourself. So the idea that you can change another confirms your beliefs that they can change you. Your belief that you are vulnerable to outside forces is the source of your fearful world. Yet this belief in your vulnerability comes from your own mind. Nothing except your thoughts can attack you. Nothing except your thoughts can attack you. Therefore, by the same token, nothing except your own thoughts can prove that you are actually invulnerable. So the law of perception tells us that you believe that what you believe would have effects through you must also have effects on you. This is why there are no powerless or meaningless thoughts. Because your ego is one big judging machine, any thoughts of limitations that you would attempt to impose upon another must always attack your own invulnerability first. You fail to recognize the true power of your own beliefs. Therefore, you fail to realize that what has effects through you must also have effects upon you. When you properly understand how perception works, you will realize that what you give, you must also receive. To believe another is not perfect, whole, and complete is to believe that you are not perfect, whole, and complete. When you argue for another's limitations, you actually argue for your own. This paragraph is a ton of great statements, just powerful, right? So let me say it again. When you argue for another's limitations, you actually are arguing for your own. It is this belief that binds you to your fearful world of provisional reality. So failing to recognize the true power of your beliefs, you misuse the law about perception. You think you can attack another and that your attack actually protects you. Once this law is properly understood, you will realize that when you attack another, you are attacking yourself. With this newfound knowledge, you can utilize that same law for your own best interest. So here's the lesson itself. It says, it's surely obvious that when you can be attacked, you are not invulnerable. You see attack as a real threat. Because you believe that you can really attack, and what would have effect through you, your beliefs you can attack others must also have effects on you. It is this law that will ultimately save you, but you are misusing it now. You must therefore learn how it can be used for your own best interest rather than against your own best interest. So because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack. And if you fear attack, you must believe that you are not invulnerable. Attack thoughts therefore make you vulnerable in your own mind, which is where the attack thoughts are. So attack thoughts and invulnerability cannot be accepted together. The idea for today introduces the thought that you always attack yourself first. If attack thoughts must entail beliefs that you are vulnerable, those same attack thoughts' effect is to weaken you in your mind's eyes. Thus, those same attack thoughts have attacked your perception of yourself, and because you believe in your attack thoughts' ability to attack others, you can no longer believe in your own invulnerability. A false image of your egoic self has come to take the place of what you are, which is really invulnerable spirit. That's really what we are. So practice with today's idea that my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. This will help you understand that vulnerability and invulnerability is the result of your own thoughts. Nothing except your thoughts can attack you. Nothing except your thoughts can make you think you're vulnerable. And nothing except your thoughts can prove to you this perceived vulnerability is not so. So today we're going to have you do 6 practice sessions, much like we did last week. Forgot I put these slides together. So here's the lesson itself. 6 sessions, 2 minutes each. And this is what we're going to ask that you do. So 6 practice sessions are required in applying today's idea. So this is one of those that they're asking that you do it for. I mean, it was a little loose before. Now let's do this. A full 2 minutes should be attempted for each of the practice periods, although the time may be reduced to 1 minute if the discomfort is too great. So if this starts drudging stuff up from the bottom of the pool, you can stop. Do not reduce those practice periods further than 1 minute, though. So the practice period should begin with repeating the idea for today that my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. So that's what we start with. And then closing your eyes and reviewing the unresolved questions whose outcomes are causing you concern. The concern may take the form of depression, worry, a sense of imposition, fear, foreboding, or preoccupation. So whatever's kind of like making your stomach knot up a little bit or keeping you awake a little bit at night, that's what we're looking for. And any problem as yet unsettled that tends to recur in your thoughts during the day is also a suitable subject. You will not be able to use very many concerns for any one practice period. So it's typically 1 or 2 concerns in that 2 minutes. Although longer time than usual should be spent with each concern. So it's to really grab a hold of one and really work through it. So today's idea, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability, should be applied as follows. So you name the situation. So specifically, right? Referring to each one quite specifically by saying, I am concerned about blank. And then go over every possible outcome that has occurred to you in that connection and which has caused you concerns, referring to each one quite specifically. That's those outcomes that could happen that you've thought about by saying this, I am afraid blank will happen. Now, if you're doing the exercises properly, you should have some 5 or 6 distressing possibilities available for each situation you use, and quite possibly more. It is much more helpful to cover a few situations thoroughly than to touch on a larger number. As the list of anticipated outcomes for each situation continues, you will probably find some of the anticipated outcomes, especially those that occur to you towards the end, less acceptable to you. Try, however, to treat all of the anticipated outcomes alike to whatever extent you can, right? No judgment or filter, and yet you might find it does that. After you've named each outcome of which you are afraid, tell yourself this, that thought is an attack upon myself. That thought is an attack upon myself. And then you conclude each of the practice sessions of this lesson with restating that my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability to yourself at least once more, just to kind of wrap that session up. So I'm going to leave this slide up because if you're taking notes, you probably want to write that down. You're starting to probably see a pattern in some of the way the lessons are done, right? So, but here's the thing about this lesson. When the text says spend more time on each one of these concerns, that's going to force you to go deeper into what the outcomes you've thought of are. Now, you may think you've not thought of them yet. If they come up for you, you've given them thought somehow, way, shape, or form. So they are there. And this is one of those I always say we want to go scuba diving, not snorkeling. Right? So snorkeling is kind of the surface, right? It's kind of cool. You're on the top of the water. You look down and see everything down below you. Not very dangerous because if something goes wrong, you're right at the surface. Scuba diving is down at the bottom, where if something goes wrong, it's a little bit more concerning, right? You can't just shoot up to the top because it could cause a lot of problems. It's about going deep, because as you go deep like that, you're going to start probably getting more from an emotional impact. You're going to start feeling differently. That's when the work is really occurring. And I think for many of us, we tend to surface a lot of things in life, right? So this is going to be a chance to not do that, should you choose. So with that, I'm going to ask if there's any questions, thoughts, or comments on today's lesson or anything we've covered so far. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being with me today. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock, if not before. Have a great day. Don't forget to jump into some of the great training if you've got a chance today. Or you can always go watch it also on demand, because it's everything that I share with you is being recorded. So we will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome day, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Darren. Bye.
My pleasure.